are going to ask what we did to advance good and what we did to resist evil. We're going to ask that because this is a time when Islamism threatens to destroy civilization as we know it. And at the very center of that threat is the regime now in control in Tehran, which oppresses its own people, threatens its neighbors, and the world at large by pursuing a program to develop nuclear weapons, which it has said repeatedly it will not hesitate to use. And so the question that we have to ask ourselves is, what have we done and what are we doing to bring about the only end to this threat that can be permanent, and that is regime change in Iran. Sadly, this country, the United States, which Abraham Lincoln called the last best hope of earth, has not done all it could and is not doing all it can. In fact, what it has done and what it is doing can be said to be a stain on the honor of the United States. It's our job to make sure that that stain is removed. What's the case that supports that harsh conclusion and that urgent call for action? Well, as you heard, I'm a lawyer, and lawyers make their cases with facts and law and policy, so let's look at some facts and some law and some policy and see whether the case is there. The history of the relationship between the United States and the Iranian regime since the 1979 revolution can be summed up as a series of attempts by the United States to, as the diplomats say, engage the Iranian regime. Each attempt less successful than the one that preceded it. And I'm not going to go through that entire history, but an important part of it begins in the 1990s during the Clinton administration, when the People's Mujahideen Organization of Iran, also known as the MEK, was designated by the Secretary of State under U.S. law as a foreign terrorist organization, and that designation, regrettably, continues to this day. Just as I don't have to review in detail the whole sorry history of the U.S. government's attempts to engage the regime of the mullahs in Tehran, I don't have to review the entire history of the MEK, but we're entitled to ask, what is the MEK and what has it been in recent years? Well, quite simply, the MEK is the only organization of Iranians, both inside Iran and outside Iran, that opposes the current regime, that favors a government in Iran that is democratic, secular, non-nuclear, and a republic. Again, this is not one of the few organizations that fits that description. It is, in fact, the only one. There are about 3,500 members of the MEK who now live at a place on the border of Iran in Iraq that is known as Camp Ashraf, although it is referred to as a camp, I think,